Hi everyone, it's Wendy here from Stamping with Wendy A. Today I'm making a colourful card using the emboss resist technique, using the Art in Bloom set and those little patterned strips. I'm just stamping using Versamark and just stamping randomly in a few areas on the card. And then I will put some embossing powder over the top to create some areas that will that will resist the ink that I put on a bit later on. So here I'm putting the white embossing powder on and just tapping off the excess. You can just sort of see where it is on the screen, and here I'm just wiping away some of the stray bits of powder where I don't want the powder to be. So yep, just rubbing that off with my little brush. Then I put the powder away so I don't make a mess anywhere. Get that out of the way and put my ink away. And then I grab my heat tool to heat the powder. So yeah, I'm just heating the powder here. You can't see too much, but the powder will melt and become permanent. The cardstock I'm using is the shimmery white as well. You probably can't see the shimmery look of the cardstock, but that was the cardstock I decided to use for this project. So you can just sort of see all the shiny bits there that where it's got white embossing. So now I'm going to use a stamp from the Gorgeous Leaves stamp just to stamp around some colour. So it's like a nice textured stamp. And colours, I've got Bermuda Bay, Daffodil Delight, Calypso Coral, Lemon Lime Twist and Misty Moonlight. The Lemon Lime Twist, it's an old retired colour, but it's a little bit like Granny Apple Green. You know, if you sort of was looking for a similar colour, that would be a close option. So yeah, just putting on the Daffodil Delight here. So I'm stamping twice in the one area, and I'm turning the stamp around just to get more coverage, but not to stamp on top of in exactly the same spot. You'll see as I go along the effect, you know, that I'm trying to get. So here I'm stamping with Calypso Coral. So just stamping a few areas. And you can see where it's resisting the ink. You know, it's where I'm going over that white embossed area. It's not, the ink's not going to be permanent there. It will wipe off that area. So here I'm doing the green. So I do a few areas of green on there. And there's a perfect example. You can see I've gone over the white embossed area and the ink isn't showing. And a bit later on I do wipe that off. And this is the Bermuda Bay going on now. I love this stamp. It's very versatile. I can see myself using this a lot. And apologies about my voice. I've got a little bit of a croaky voice. I have had a cough. I have had a COVID test, so I'm absolutely fine in that department. But it's just left me with a bit of a croak. So I'm just putting on a little bit of yellow here just to fill in that last bit, or a couple of bits of white area on the card. So yeah, I've got the colour on now, so I've got my blending brushes out, and I'm going to blend some colour. So all the stamped areas sort of will merge in together. So it's adding a bit more colour and depth to each of the coloured areas. But you will see that the texture that's in the stamp, it will be still visible. So that will give it a nice, quite a nice effect. So I've done the yellow there, and I'm now coming in with the Calypso Coral. And it's just spreading the colour out as well, so all of those areas are covered and they merge in and blend in together. So yep, this is the green going on, and yeah, a little bit more green, and last I do the Bermuda Bay. I always get a bit of ink on my fingers with this ink pad. I really should give it a clean. It's a pretty juicy pad, and I tend to get ink all over the place, including my fingers. So I just have to be careful with that. So yeah, just finishing up all of those blended areas. You can see the texture of the stamp is still there, which is a really nice effect. Just wiping off all the ink that's on the white embossed area. Yeah, it wasn't very much. Now, using the Evergreen Elegance stamp, there's a stamp in there that I'm using that is probably for the ground, but I thought it was a really good mark making stamp, so I'm just putting some marks on using that stamp, and I'm using the Misty Moonlight ink. So next I'm going to put some dots on from the Quiet Meadow stamp set. I'm using black Memento black ink, and I just randomly stamp those dots around, mainly over those areas where I've put those Misty Moonlight marks. I always like putting dots on things. Excuse me. And then I decided to put some lines on, so I use the In Symmetry stamp set, and there's just a plain line, and with the black I'm just putting some just randomly some lines around, and just crisscrossing them over each other. Just gives a bit more interest to the card. Yeah, nearly finished. So yeah, here I think I finished, but then no, I go back in and put a couple more lines on in that bottom corner. So now I get out my Stampin' Write marker. It's a black marker, and I draw some wiggly lines around the card, around the borders. Just defines the edges of the card, and I like the effect it gives. And then I get one of my sponge daubers out and some more black ink, and just put some black ink around the edges of the card. Again, it just adds to defining the border, or defining the edge of the card with a border. So I just check all those white areas again, and wipe off any stray ink that's on that white embossed area, just to clean it up. So that's it for the background of the card. Next, using Hand Penned Petals, I stamp some of the flowers in black ink onto white cardstock. And then I cut them out with the matching dies on my cut and emboss machine. So then I decide to put some leaves just off the, I cut them off the flowers, so just stamping just some of the leaves here, the small and larger leaves. And then I cut them again using one of the dies. Okay, so I've got my leaves here, so I just have to finish them off with my scissors. So if you like my channel or my videos and you haven't subscribed before, please think about subscribing. There is a subscribe button on the screen on the right bottom side of the screen. If you click on that, you will be able to subscribe, and then click on the bell icon, which will notify you every time I upload a new video. So next I'm preparing my card base. So I decide to put it on some Bermuda Bay cardstock. I've got an A4 size piece of card here, which I cut in half. And then fold it in half and run the my bone folder over the fold, just to make the fold really crisp. So I've realised here that my mat is the same size as my card base, so I cut it down by 3 mils all around. So you'll see 3 mils of the card base around the edges. But that means then I've got to draw my border back on, because I've actually cut that border off. So I get my marker out again and put my 2 lots of wiggly lines all around the edges. And I get my sponge dauber and black ink out again and do all of the edges. At the end of the video I will put some close-up photos of the card, so you can have a good look close-up of the texture that's in all of that coloured background. So now I stick my card down onto the base using Tombow liquid glue. Oh, just making sure I got it the way up that I want it, and holding that card down until the glue starts to get really tacky. And I get my flowers and leaves out and decide where I'm going to put them. Yeah, pleased with that. So I just neaten up those edges and put a little bit of black ink onto them with my sponge dauber again. And then I glue them in place. So you can see on the screen there I've got my happy birthday ready, prepared. That's stamped from the Biggest Wish stamp set, and I've stamped it with Versamark ink onto black cardstock and put the white powder on, which I've heat embossed. Then I fussy cut all around the words, which that took me a while to do, but I don't mind doing a bit of fussy cutting, and it's such a nice effect. And I put the happy birthday on with some dimensionals just to pop it up a little bit. So if you like my card, please click on the like icon. The more likes I get, the more YouTube shares my video. So more people can get to see it. And send me a comment as well. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to hear from you all. So that's the card finished. Let me know what you think. I hope you like it. And that's all for today. And I'll see you next time. Just wait around for the close-up photos.